Hello everybody and welcome back to the Legend of Dragoon. My name's Cody, and in the last episode we defeated Magician Faust, supposedly the most difficult boss in the game, though you wouldn't know it from the way he used his 3 consecutive spells every turn to consistently target my characters with their own element, therefore doing 0 damage. It was a bit embarrassing. He probably should have spent a bit more time at Hogwarts, remembering how magic worked. So yeah, Magician Faust is done with for now. He's probably going to go back to study at Hogwarts, except he can't because he's dead. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Mayfield, the City of Death. This is the final Wingley city that we can go to before the game ends. We're really wrapping up at this point in the game. I'm expecting another, I don't know in terms of episodes because there's some cutscene stuff near the end and everything, but probably like another 10-15 episodes of The Legend of Dragoon. That's how close we are to the end. After like 6 years now, after I started this series in 2010, we're getting so close to the end of The Legend of Dragoon. We're actually really well prepared for it, as you can see by us wiping out Faust. And what we've actually done is we've completed all of the additions. Everyone's final edition is maxed out. You can see Dart has got Blazing Dynamo, 450% damage, 500, 501. 400, but Albert has a higher damage output in the first place. 600% from Meru, which is the most powerful in the game to make up for her lack of damage. And 300 from Kongol, who is naturally physically powerful. So it basically evens them all out in the end. So at any point from now on, pick and choose whichever your characters you like. We can... Yeah, we'll stick with Meru and Rose for now. But I'm probably going to switch in someone fairly soon because there's a few interesting fights coming up. So this is the Death City of Mayfield. This is where people go, or where people went when they died during the reign of the Wingleys. The Wingleys sort of not content with ruling them in life, also used this to direct their souls to wherever. Yeah, see, look, those are souls, I guess, being sucked into the tower or something. I don't understand exactly how this works. I'm not an expert on Wingley technology. If I was, I'd be able to get through their mazes, the ones where they have teleports that go to other teleports that don't tell you where they're going. That would be great. That'd be great if I was an expert on Wingley architecture, but I'm not. Both Aglis and Xenobatos were working. It shouldn't be that strange. But yeah. Do the souls that couldn't completely die gather here? So Rose is very concerned because in the Dragon campaign, they, I think, made sure to destroy this place. So she's a bit unsettled by the stuff that's still working 11,000 years later. So it's amazing how all this Wingley technology is still working without the Wingleys there. 10,000 years later, you know, say what you want about them, but they've got some technology that lasts. Like, you probably go, 30 days without maintenance on some of the stuff in an average city, and like everything would stop working, everything would break. This is the Soul of Fairbrand, the green-tusked dragon. If you have been following since Disc 1, you'll remember this is the very first dragon that we saw. I believe we saw it in Episode 1, or Episode 2, if Episode 1 was the one where I only showed the original cutscene. But right at the start of the game, Dart encountered this dragon, and Rose helped him run away, and eventually they went forth along with Lavitz to defeat the dragon and gain the Dragoon power from Graham. What we can do is his soul is trapped. I don't know why I decided that Fairbrand Firebrand doesn't actually make sense because it's like a wind type. But yeah, this is the wind type elemental. So what I'm going to do is I just switched Rose in off screen, but I'm going to bring back Kongol to do this fight. These are all optional fights. This one's coming up. There's I think there's another couple of dragons coming up that are optional fights, but they're free experience. You can basically pick whoever you want for this fight. At this point in the game, this should not be difficult for you. This is a relatively easy dragon. I mean, look, everything seems easy to me because I've just defeated the Magician Faust kind of by accident. So I'm feeling a bit confident in my abilities. But yeah, these dragons used to give a lot of trouble when we first met them, but at this point, we've got so many items and things going for us that their chance of wiping out the party is virtually nil. Even though I think Kongol isn't wearing any of the cool protective gear that we bought, and neither is Meru because they're on like Albert and Rose or something because I was being lazy. But you can see he's already in the yellow. You know, this is almost not characterized as a boss fight at this point. So if you pay attention to how much damage they're all doing, by the way, I wasn't, but if you do, you can sort of see their equivalent damages. Meru, I think, does a bit less than, for example, Dart, but she's also, you know, for obvious reasons, she makes up for it in terms of she's got like 90 speed and Dart has 50. So she gets to move just about twice as much. And that was, I think that took like a minute and a half with just Dragoon editions. No fancy Miranda tricks that time. As much as I enjoy them very much, as much as I enjoy bringing out Miranda and annihilating them in a burst of absolute divine fury, that guy got taken out with like 4 or 5 additions. So this is sort of this. You know how a lot of games have these sort of gauntlets for like, look how far you've come. There's a bunch of like bracelets and things in these chests that are like, oh, we'll stop you from getting poisoned or whatever, and they're like rings. They're good to sell if you don't feel you have a sufficient amount of legend casks and armors of legend. You can probably at this point in the game loot all of these chests, sell basically everything you have because there's a point of no return after this. Buy that stuff and then come back for the end game. So this time it is the Soul of Rigol, the water type. He says, kill me. So we're going to grant his wish. Let's have a second boss fight in the same episode, which is unique for me, I think. I usually leave it to one boss fight per episode, but that's also because generally our boss fights don't go for 2 minutes. So this is a water type, so I'm going to transform Dart into a Dragoon. I could have, I should have used the special so that he automatically did all of his Dragoon additions, because that was a bit sad. That was a bit of a sad attempt at me getting the additions right. But I'll just put a power up on Dart. I'll just leave him. I might do a final burst or something. And meanwhile, use a Psych Bomb X. It's not going to be powered up Miranda level, but it's going to be a solid amount of damage anyway. Even if I was a bit lazy. Even if I was a bit lazy in that, it's still going to do about 2,000 damage. So they transform back into sort of spirit versions of their spirit versions of themselves to do 67 damage to my character with 3,232 health. Yeah, look, I've stopped, you know, I've reached the point of of actually just looking down on bosses now, which I haven't been doing in the past. I always rev them up. I'm always like, this could be difficult. But after that Magician Faust battle, I'm sort of like, just apathetic towards these bosses. Like, you're gonna have to do more than like 3 damage if you want to take me down. You know, like, this isn't a game. Well, it is a game. It is a game. It's called The Legend of Dragoon, but it's not a game to this Dragoon spirit or the Dragon spirit because it's about to die, which is rarely a game unless you're playing Russian roulette, I guess. Here we go. Say it with me. Or with Dark. With the power up, that should do. Yeah, that's a pretty good amount of damage. And as the water type dragon, it would have been fairly resistant to magic as well. But we're high enough level now that it's like those old episodes of Pokemon where, because you know in the Pokemon anime how technically there were type differences, but they just didn't really matter. And it was just sort of like, oh yeah, my Pikachu beat your Onix because the sprinkler system came on. You know. Sometimes you're just too high level for them. We're just sort of like bullying them. Except that they're about to be dragged into the afterlife and we're sending them to peace. So we're actually doing them a favor, but it feels like bullying them. Because these used to be bosses and they're just not very boss-like right now. Though, I feel like I should mention, coming up next, he won't be overwhelmed anymore. Hurry up. Alright, we have to catch up with Dart's father. Dart was right there. I don't know why you talked about him in the third person. So, there's one more boss fight coming up. I am going to leave that to the next episode because this dragon's a bit different from the others. This dragon, I'm going to prepare an off episode because I'm worried that I might get taken out by the Divine Dragon, who's sitting here chilling. So we're gonna cover that in the next episode, then move on to probably I might be able to do this whole area in like 2 episodes because if I don't do any random encounters on screen and I don't get the chests and things, this is relatively short, and well, if I spend 2 minutes fighting all of the bosses they give me, the only problem is there's something that I cannot defeat with raw power, which is a maze, and that's going to be amazing. I'll see you next episode.